here. Tord Reklev, the defending EUIC champion, piloting that Charizard EX archetype versus Fabien Pujol, who he said is playing that Gardevoir archetype. So here we go, a clash of titans. And I tell you what, folks at home, that accomplishment list could fill the whole screen realistically, but there are some there. EUIC champion, world's finalist, LIC champion, NAIC champion. There's another EUIC champion that could be there as well as OCIC champion. All the ICs! Tord has collected them and notched them on his belt there. So, you know, one of the game's most premier players, I'm sure everyone would agree, and he is piloting that Charizard archetype, the deck that he just won EUIC with.
Yeah, Tord wins community choice like Tord's win international championships.
Yay,
always a favourite going into community choice, but let's not sleep on Fabien Pujol. NAIC top 8, World's top 16, LAIC top 8, World's top 32. If you've been around the game for a little bit of a while, this is a player whose name will be very familiar to you. Lots of big finishes, lots of impressive tournament results over the years, and like I said at the beginning, I'm excited to see. Actually, yes, I'm excited to see Charizard against Gardevoir. I had the wrong deck list open for a minute, that's why I had a little bit of a pause there, but it is going to be Charizard against Gardevoir. And we finally, like, for years, people were like, Stage 2's back.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it, right now, Stage 2s are actually back. In the Scarlet and Violet era, we have had Stage 2 decks, we've had Guardy, we've had Charizard. I know we're not there yet, but, you know, keep an eye out for Dragapult is all I'm saying. Look up to the sky, see if it's flying around overhead. It is coming to get you.
Everyone close your windows, there won't no Dragapults flying in, that's for sure.
Throwing Dreepy at you all day long.
Goodness gracious me. But you are correct, you know, you've got Chien-Pao. I mentioned that's a Stage 2 deck as well. Multiple Stage 2 decks, but we do have our basic decks as well, and I love it when a meta game has multiple different styles and decks in format. It just makes it a bit more entertaining if you ask me. As we do see our dice roll, we can't see what that was, but it looks like our players are getting ready. But yeah, the old traditional matchup, as you say, Charizard versus Gardevoir. Right, Ross, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who you got?
I got Tord Charizard. I mean, if you're giving me the EUIC winner with the deck with which they won the EUIC just a few weeks ago in the same format we're playing in today, I'm afraid, you know, that's got to be coming in the presumptive. And like I said, you know, Gardevoir seems to have lost a bit of its power. And also, you know, Tord is the accepted master of this Charizard deck. And this deck list is wild. If you look at this compared to the early Charizard deck list, it is bizarre. Lots of one-offs. So, right, we really need to pay attention to these prizes.
We might see some of these one-offs here.
Fortin, that's a one-off.
That's a one-off.
Chi-Yu, that's a one-off.
3 fire energy, though.
Oh, how many
Only plays 4.
Oh my goodness.
That means Burning Darkness is not available for Tord until prize cards get taken. But it looks like our Swiss round 4 feature match here is starting. Fabien Pujol with a quick attach pass over to Tord Reklev. Let's play some Pokemon.
Yeah, Drift Lunar of Energy is not your perfect start, but Tord probably not going to be punishing that too much. Not exactly this big, fast, aggressive deck. It's a deck that wants to set up a little bit.
Right, so I'm going to take some time now to try and work out what Tord can do, as he's going to start his turn off there with Buddy Buddy Poffin, going to grab a Pidgey and a Charmander, and he will be most likely prize checking right now. So, with 3 fire energy in the prize cards, and there is no special energy to make up that second energy cost, I'm trying to work out how Tord can take some prizes. So, I think we could be looking at a Luxray V, funnily enough, spoiler alert, or we could even be seeing some blustery wind from Pidgeot EX.
Yeah, Pidgeot EX's blustery wind does 120 for 2 colorless energy. That's an option. We've obviously got Luxray V, who's an option. Fang Snipe does 30 and lets you discard a trainer card from your opponent's hand. You do have Radiant Charizard, but the problem is you can only accelerate 1 energy to it.
Oh, true.
And before your opponent's taken prizes, that is a full 5 cost. So it's absolutely doable, but you would have to kind of... No, it's not doable. You've only got 4 energy in the deck. You've got 1 double turbo, you've got 1 mist energy and 1 fire. So no, you literally, you would have to let your Fabien take a prize before you can even attack with Radiant Charizard. So it is Pidgeot and Luxray. They are basically the options. It's not looking great.
Not looking great. I'll tell you, if anyone can get out of this, I think Tord Reklev is quite high on that list. As Tord does actually play an Ultra Ball, discarding that Radiant Charizard and a Mimikyu, and then going to play an Arven to grab a Forest Seal Stone and an Ultra Ball.
Yeah, Arven is such a good supporter card because of the existence of Forest Seal Stone.
Yes.
Lets you grab an item and a tool, but your tool can be Forest Seal Stone, which searches out any card whatsoever, and that makes it amazing. You've got to attach it to a Pokemon V, but there is the Luxray we mentioned a moment ago, and I think Tord has kind of seen, there's not much I can do here, and we do just see Cleffa drawing a few cards, and for 0 energy and all, and then we are back over to Fabien with another Arven.
He's going to start the turn off there with an Arven. That Cleffa using that grasping draw. So let's have a look for Fabien then. So unfortunately didn't have the greatest of turn ones, just has the Drifloon attached partially, but we do see the Arven now, as you say, going to grab an item and a tool card. Looks like Body Poffin will be considered there. Does actually have the Hisuian Heavy Ball in hand as well, so if there is a basic Pokemon, I believe there was at least one Ralts in Fabien's prizes, he will be able to grab that. I
believe so, but certainly turn 1 Arven going second is great. Used to be you would go and get your Battle VIP pass. Here instead you go for an Arven. Actually eyeing up that Mimikyu a little bit there, popping it to the front. Can be good against Pokemon that are EX and V, stops damage from them, so that might be an option for block a little bit in the early game, but you can just get a bunch of routes here and just start going for Gardevoir as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, Fabien isn't to know this, obviously, but if Tord can only take prize cards via well, can't even take Radiant Charizard for now until some prize cards get taken, and you can only attack with Luxray and Pidgeot. Mimikyu says no to both of them, funnily enough. So
yeah, Mimikyu's kind of busted right now. Like, Mimikyu will block the only real attackers to which Tord has access. I mean, sooner or later that Radiant Charizard will come back and then will be able to attack with that 1 fire energy. But if Fabien knew what we knew, and he might, to be fair, because that Mimikyu's on the board with an energy.
I mean, it looks like he will be eyeing up the TM Evolution, as he does play the Heavy Ball, so we'll be able to grab that second Ralts now as well. So that TM Evolution will be able to pluck out 2 Curlier from Fabien's deck and evolve those Ralts. Very nice. But you're right, with that energy, it's not inconceivable for Fabien to think, well, let me just put another one on and start doing Cursed Eyes. I believe the attack is 7 damage counters on your opponent's active. See if I was right about that. Yes, Ghost Eye! Oh, it's close.
Well, you got the effect. That's the most important thing here. So we do see that TM Evolution coming down here, getting both of those routes on the bench into Curlier, which of course is going to be your draw engine going through for the next couple of turns. It's got that refinement that lets you discard a card from your hand and draw 2. It's one of the reasons why it's been such a good deck Gardevoir since it came out in Scarlet and Violet base, and actually ends up with that Mimikyu in the active, which is unintentionally kind of amazing.
Yep, for sure, that Mimikyu, he will put in the finest of work, as it is over to Tord now to start his second turn. Now, it does have that Forest Seal Stone available, so we'll be able to grab any card he like on that V-Star Alchemy ability, and does obviously have the Grasping Draw cards to work with as well. We do see the Pidgeot in hand, we do see a Defiance Belt. I don't see, there is a Rare Candy actually, so Pidgeot will be available. Ooh.
Nice, so now you can search any card with Pidgeot, and you can search any card with Forest Seal Stone. But that means this is going to give it away though, because Tord now can very easily go and get Rare Candy Charizard.
Yes.
And if you don't get that, or you get it but you don't get a second fire energy, that basically gives the game away. So there's almost like a secondary part of the game here where you're kind of trying not to let your opponent know that you can attack with very much of anything. And that's a problem. Like, Tord's deck has so many different cards. It's like the anti-winning Dialga list. It's the complete polar opposite. It does mean there will be games where your prizes let you right down.
Yeah, and it's interesting. If you do try and fit a load of one-offs in, they have to come from somewhere. And I guess you could make the argument that since Charizard can just pluck 5 ranges out of deck very efficiently, you can afford to cut a few of them. But unfortunately, that can come back to bite you if you prize a lot of them.
And prizing free is not exactly that often going to happen. So we see another Arven here going for that Hero's Cape. That is the ace spec of choice in this Charizard list. Give you an extra 100 HP and then a Rare Candy as well. So we can have a very big beefy Charizard coming down here if we so wish. And if anybody's wondering, Hero's Cape is a choice in both of these decks here, which is not that surprising. These are decks that love the old cape.
Yep. Making the Pokemon very heroic in the way they feel when they don their cape. We are going to see an Ultra Ball being played. They're going to discard a Defiance Band and that Regieleki, something that we have seen crop up a little bit, the EUIC. There's that letting you grab back a trainer card. Can be very good for enough against the control decks. We do see it get sent to a discard pile, though, as a Charizard EX is taken, and it's that very nice special illustration rare one as well.
Yeah, Kira Ogawa's been knocking it out of the park lately, and that is one of their better artworks we've seen from them. So we're going to be getting one Fire Energy.
Yeah.
And not a second. And, I mean, is there any reasonable situation where you'd go, nah, mate, I only need one. I'm good. One will do.
No, I don't think so, not realistically. I mean, you could maybe make the argument since there's a Mimikyu in the active, well, I'll leave the energy in deck then, I guess, but...
And maybe if you got one in hand and you really don't want to set up a backup attacker. But here we go with the Luxray, and I kind of like this. You're not evolving up into the Charizard yet, although that is obviously an option. But when you evolve up into Charizard, you are going to give away your prizes. That is why you hold off on the evolution. And actually, there's an argument here that towards going, oh no, I can Charizard whenever I want.
Yeah.
But Disruption with Luxray right now, that's where I'm at. Now, Luxray can only get rid of a trainer card.
Yep.
But obviously, and I mean, it's nice to get rid of something like a Super Rod, but if you look and your opponent has no other supporters, nice to get rid of the Ino. Means evolving up the Curlier last turn was a very big thing. Otherwise, you'd be in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah. No, 100%. But it does mean that those refinements might have started discarding stuff that they otherwise wouldn't have. But I think Fabien would love to be discarding Psych Energy, since Gardevoir EX can accelerate them from there.
Yep.
So that first refinement was a fantastic target. Let's see what Fabien gets discarded of here. Professor's Churro scenario to draw 2 more.
Yeah, not too bad there. No energy in hand to attach just yet. And we see an Arven coming down. That's going to get you a tool and an item card. And it looks like going straight for the Nest Ball there. No thought about that. And it looks like another TM Evolution, which I don't mind at all. There's 2 in the deck. It's not good in the mid to late game because you don't really have time to play it at that point. And, you know, if you can get, say, a Routes down with your Nest Ball, then you can have, you know, a second Curlier, because one of your Curlier turns into a Gardevoir, and you've still got 2 Curlier there ready to roll.
Yeah, I've been intrigued to see, was it just going to get discarded? Yeah, I thought so. Just get discarded Ultra Ball fodder, just to make that a bit more, well, manageable. So are we going to see a Gardevoir EX here? Yes, we are. There we go. So that means we could be seeing that Ghost Eye from Mimikyu. I wonder if Fabien has, you know, oh no, as we do see a Scream Tail come down, I apologize, off the Nest Ball as well. So maybe we're going to see that Roaring Scream, but 30 for each damage counter, I believe, on the Scream Tail, and that accelerates very fast.
Oh yeah, the damage from Scream Tail builds up very, very quickly. Scream Tail's a great card, and yeah, it's just gets a threat off the board, but it doesn't have to be the active. You know, it is for 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So there's no Manaphy on towards side of the board, so you can fire it anywhere you like. And oh look, the only Charmander. Who could have seen that coming?
Wow, that Scream Tail, fantastic addition to the deck. As you say, can target anything. So that Charmander is down for Tortue. I'm not going to see any Charizard coming out this turn. So over to Tord now. Does have Forest Hill Stone available, does have DTE attached to it, does have Pidgeot EX as well. But I mean, are we just going to be trying to put down maybe 2 Charmanders this turn? Or maybe 1 plus Manaphy?
I mean, he only plays 2 Charmander in the deck, so he would need to recover 1 in order to play 1. There's only 2 in the deck. We do see Pidgeot coming down here, or using the ability, so you can get another Charmander down. The problem is, if you play 1 Charmander, it is definitely going to get KO'd. There's no Manaphy in the list,
Manaphy,
so you're not going to be able to protect it that way, and you can't just bench 1 Charmander, because we just saw what happened. And unfortunately, you know, your Luxray V, it only does 30 damage, but there's a double turbo on there. So you do 10, but somehow...
Kind of helps out the Scream Tail though, doesn't it?
Yes, Scream Tail, it's not a big Pokemon, but it is easily out of range of the Luxray right now. And, you know, Tord can do a little bit more disruption. Now, there is the Penny picking it up. And, yeah, this is the way to go, because now you can attach a double turbo to the Pidgeot. And it might have been out of Luxray range. It is not out of Pidgeot range. And we got the Hero's Cape there as well. But choosing instead to use Counter Catcher to bring up one of the 2 Curlier on the field. So on the only Curlier on the field, in fact, because one got evolved. And that is going to take away Fabien's draw engine, at least for the time being.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all, since you do see the other evolution card get discarded as well, so we won't be seeing that. So yeah, Pidgeot, yeah, it's coming active. Quick search ability has been used. But yeah, Blustery Wind going to do 100 damage after that double turbo attachment. So everyone batten down the hatches. It's getting a bit windy in here. Pidgeot takes the Tord's first prize card, the second prize card, I should say, and then we'll maybe take the Fire Energy out there as well.
Oh, and I wonder if we can get a quick peek at the prize cards to see if it was an energy taken or not here.
It was. And it was his first prize card. I apologize.
Oh, lovely.
But yeah, there we go. That was a Fire Energy.
So now Charizard can actually attack in this game, which is pretty gosh darned important. So that's wonderful there. That's a big, big win for Tord. And that was good, because there was a 50-50 chance. And if you whiff that too many times, that is basically the game. But Tord did what he needed to do. He took a prize, and now he's back in the game potentially. But we've still got the awkward issue of there's no Charmander on the bench still. And Pidgeot is not your main attacker here.
No. I mean, you could make the argument against Gardevoir. Blustery Wind in 100 is often quite enough, actually. But you're right. We do want to get our Charizard swinging, as we do just see another Scream Tail attack onto that benched Pidgey, as Fabien takes his second prize card to leapfrog into the lead. And let's see what Tord Reklev can do here, Ross.
Yeah, we can draw a Rotom off the top of his deck. Don't know if that helps too much. But if we're going to be seeing it, like I say, we kind of need double Charmander here. Now, you can just put one Charmander down and KO the Scream Tail and then hope that Fabien's not able to hit the bench again. That is absolutely something you can do.
Yep.
But that is a risky strategy a lot of the time that I wouldn't necessarily recommend. Really trying to get 2 down there is the way to go to make sure you've got that evolution next turn.
We are seeing Tord use his quick search here, just to bait him on what to grab. Like you said, there is one Charmander in discard pile. Does only pay 2 copies. So if you did want to try and double up, we'd have to play a Super Rod to do that. But that's a good thing about quick search though, Ross. Whatever you need, you can just go and grab.
Yeah, being able to search any card out of your deck every turn is absolutely absurd. It's so good, it is hard limited to once per turn, regardless of how many Pidgeot you've actually got out on the field. What did he grab there? I didn't actually see it.
Oh, it was a little bit naughty. It wasn't airy. Letting you look at your opponent's hand and discard 2 items. Let's see what Fabien's got. Or just get 2. Super Rod and that Hisuian Heavy Ball. So they get sent to the discard pile there, leaving Fabien with 2 copies of basic Psychic Energy.
But remember, Fabien has no Curlier right now. Tord took out the only Curlier. We've got a Rouse, we've got a Gardevoir, we don't have any Curlier. There's no Greninja on the board for Fabien, so there's no draw. Fabien has got 2 Psychic Energy and his top deck. That's all he's got to work with next turn.
As we do see Tord there using his V-Star, Power Star, Alchemy by benching that Luxray and attaching Forest Hill Stone. He can grab any card he likes. Also, he's going to opt for that Body Putty Puffin, which will be able to liberate that Charmander from the deck. I would imagine there it is.
Yep.
I love that artwork as well.
Wonderful.
Said, let me get involved. I'm behind a window. Don't worry, little fella. You might be evolved soon. And yeah, that hits the bench for Tord.
Leaving one Charmander out is potentially awkward, though. Scream Tail could potentially come back and get a KO, or just a simple Gusting could get a KO on the Charmander, and then that is going to leave Tord in a very awkward position. Fabien is already up by a prize, and the only 2 prizer, obviously Tord's going to, even it up this turn, but the only 2 prizer on the board is that Gardevoir EX at the moment. So right now, we're trading 1 for 1, but Tord isn't getting his big attacker. And remember, that's what Charizard does. Charizard comes out and goes, hey, I do more damage because you've taken prizes. Oh, and my trainer, he's going to INO you. So you get a low hand size, and the combination of Charizard hitting hard and a low hand size to your opponent gives that comeback potential of the Charizard. But you need a Charizard to do that.
Yeah, we would need one of them. As we are going to see the Mimikyu coming into the active here. A card that's traditionally very good against the Charizard EX archetype. But it looks like we are going to see that Ghost Eye, I would imagine, being used, placing 7 damage counters on your opponent's active. Now, 7 damage counters is, it's okay, it's usable. But when your opponent has a Hero Escape attached to a 280 HP EX Pokemon, 7 damage counters could take a while.
Well, there was another little cheeky play there. Fabien got a couple of energy onto the Drifloon and retreated it. So now there's 1 energy on there ready to potentially Balloon Blast, but there's 6 damage counters on. So Drifloon right now is going to be hitting for 180 damage. But of course, I don't think Fabian's Hero's Cape has come out yet. So that could come out next turn and create some very fun interaction. So that might be what Fabien is building up there. Mimikyy's in the active, but don't sleep on the fact that that Drifloon is on the bench with 6 damage counters. That was a nice little setup play, a nice tease for the future from Fabien.
Yeah, could even use the Luxurious Cape to get there as well if he draws into that instead. But we are just going to see that Ghost Type being used, and it's over to Tord as that Terra Charizard EX does finally hit the field. Now going to pluck 1 energy out of the deck, and then the other one is in hand from taking it from the prize card. So that Burning Darkness will be used. Charizard's Infernal Rain is activated. Here we go.
Yeah, and of course Fabien had just that 1 turn to try and take down the single Charmander, wasn't able to do it. So now we see the Charmander actually coming out for Tord. We see Pidgeot using Quick Search, because we didn't actually need Quick Search to get Charizard out even. So now we're cherry picking whatever card we want with Pidgeot, and Tord is in a much better position. An awkward first couple of turns, but it seems to be working out quite nicely. And how do you remain this calm when 3 of your 4 fire energy are prized?
Just by being one of the best in the world, Ross, I think. That's any other man would be terrified. As we do see a boss's orders, which was taken off that Quick Search, might I say, to bring up that Curlier.
And I love this, because Tord is basically saying, in this game, I want your Curlier. I've been super clear about that. Last turn, I got your Curlier. This turn, I'm getting your Curlier. And if you get 1 Curlier next turn, which you won't because there's no routes down, I'm going after that as well. He's really starving Fabien's draw engine. And then you see things like the cheeky Eri, like the cheeky Luxray. Just really... Tord is able to be taking prizes here, but he's actually done a really good job of controlling the board at the same time.
Yeah, he's just really manipulated the board there, as Fabien does top deck a Buddy Poffins, and so can grab 2 more Rolts. And it's interesting, because like you said, if Fabien is going to try and work towards that big Balloon Blast play, that Mimikyu having 2 energy attached is actually kind of annoying, right? Because energy attached in Gardevoir can be argued the worst place for it, because you can't accelerate it from when it's in play. We're going to see a memory skip. Oi, let's go. That's going to memory skip, preventing your opponent from using 1 attack of your choice. So that means that Charizard cannot use Burning Darkness. So it's going to have to just sit there unless we see a multitude of switching options.
Yeah, I mean, could just switch into the Pidgeot and just get the easy KO that way. Pidgeot does more than enough damage. But then you've got your Pidgeot in the active, and we've seen Quick Searches. It's a really nice engine. It gets you a card every turn. You don't necessarily want to leave it in harm's way, especially with that Drifloon sitting on the bench, already threatening that big amount of damage to come in afterwards. So double switch would do it. Clefairy's one of those Pokemon. You often look at that and be like, oh, that must have free retreat, doesn't it? It does.
It does.
So all you need to do is switch and retreat. You're fine.
Definitely does. But I think you're underselling the Pidgeot engine there by saying it's really nice. I'd say it's fantastic. Grabbing any card you like from your deck. Worth noting, viewers, as well, if you are watching at home on Twitch, make sure to get involved with that extension, click that Pokeball, and make fun of all the glorious stuff you can do there. And if you are watching on Twitch as well, we just saw this was our community choice. We will be doing some more over the course of the weekend. Now you can only participate in those polls if you are watching on Twitch.
Very well said. So we got Tord here. He's got the Charizard in the active. It's not able to attack because of the memory skip. We see a second energy attached, came off the prizes. We see a manual retreat. And then we got a Pidgeot in the active. Now we see a Super Rod going to get that energy back into the deck, along with Radiant Charizard, which, let's face it, was never going to stay in the discard.
No,
you don't mind discarding it early because you know you've got Super Rod. Radiant Charizard, it's not for the early game, but it's always coming back late game.
Well, it's always coming back. That a terrifying Combustion Blast Pokemon can deal 250 damage for 1 5 energy. Ross, that is a ridiculous amount of damage for a ridiculous amount of energy. So I'm sure that Radiant Charizard will be rearing its head soon, since it's back in the deck. So let's see what Tord does here. Has retreated already. So we do see the Pidgeot EX in the active, and we are going to see a blustery wind again, batten down the hatches again, folks. Wow. As Tord takes his 4th prize card, Ross. Fabien, what can you do?
As soon as we saw the retreat, we knew that Pidgeot was going to be attacking. You would have to have switched if you wanted to attack with Charizard again. So, yeah, as I thought, we do have the Drifloon. We do now have the Hero's Cape on there. So, Pidgeot's got 380. Minus 70 is 310.
Yep.
So, there's so much maths going on here. So Drifloon needs to hit 310. That is 11 damage counters. There's 12 on there at the moment, because remember, they go on in pairs.
Yep.
So this now will do enough to KO the Pidgeot. Could have just waited for Fabien to do it himself, but no. I had to test my brain. This is how we stay sharp.
That was a big balloon burst there, everybody. That little Drifloon that could taking down the mighty Pidgeot, who realistically has been the main attacking force here for Tord in this game.
But then you lose quick search as well. It's not just the attacker.
Yes, it's
You've
true.
lost your quick search. So you've still got Charizard as an attacker. You only need a single basic energy to pull it off, and they went back into your deck. But now you got to play like everyone else, Tord. There's no quick search available, like every other deck.
Now this Iono could be huge. Fabien hasn't got any draw potential on board right now. So those 2 cards, did get an Iono, one of them, could be really important. And for Tord to get a Hisuian Heavy Ball, I think the 2nd Charmander hasn't been taken. No, it has been taken. I apologize.
Hisuian Heavy Ball and an Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball, of course, not playable because you need to discard 2 cards to play it. Hisuian Heavy Ball has no valid target, so Tord just gets a peek at his remaining prizes, a Thornton and a Fire Energy, and forced to Cleffa because there's no energy with which to attack, which is going to give a free attack. A Gusting here onto the Rotom Luxray or Charizard. Maybe not Charizard. Yes, or Charizard will get the KO. A boss's orders will end this game, but I don't think Fabien has it.
No, I think if she's Screamtail, Gardevoir EX, and an Iono. But this Drifloon is going to be swinging for a lot of damage. What do we see there? I think Iono and a Buddy pop in. Would love to see maybe a Curlier there even. But Fabien hasn't got a lot to do this turn, so we'll just have to Balloon Burst. Could pay the Buddy Pop in the shuffle the deck if he so desires.
And the problem is he has got that Gardevoir on the bench, and Charizard is very, very much doing enough to KO the Gardevoir. So Tord's got the potential to win next turn. Fabien does not have the potential to win this turn. There are a couple different options. He's choosing to retreat into the Flutter Mane here. So looks like we're playing a little bit of keep away for the time being.
Screamtail.
I was like, no, that's Flutter Mane.
Is it? I apologise. It looks like the sorry, it looks like the illustration rare.
That is the illustration rare, but it's the one from the Elite Trainer box of Flutter Mane.
So that's interesting. So it'll turn off the ability of anyone I think that's in the active. 90 to the active and a 30 damage. 3 damage counters get placed, or 2 I should say, get placed as well.
So you take a prize and you're turning off the ability of active Pokemon, but Energy Gusting will end the game here. Energy Gusting will get the Charizard.
That's Vacuum's going to KO that the bench.
There we go. Lost Vacuum KOs the Drifloon, and now we just need an energy. 50-50 chance. It's a... don't do this to us, Tord.
Gracious me!
I got the wrong one! That would have been game!
You need to get much closer than that, folks!
That was a moment for the stream. Tord, ever the showman. But I don't think he's got a Bravery Charm and Thornton in hand now. I don't think he can win the game. And Fabien... I mean, it's not over yet because it was the Drifloon that was the threat to Charizard. But he KO'd the Drifloon by using Lost Zone to get rid of the Hero's Cape, bringing down that HP, took a prize. Were it Fire Energy, it would have been game. But he couldn't attack with a Charizard, so we carry on, and Fabien plays an Iono. Both these players are getting a single card. Curlier would be actually pointless. You can't
discard it.
It is a Curlier, and it's pointless.
So I was going to see a retreat into Mimikyu. I love that. Force the Gust plus energy off a 1-card hand. What have we got, Tord? What have we got? Now we see the Fire Energy, funnily enough.
2 Fire Energy, but nothing else.
2 Fire Energy.
That's frustrating when your hand is just Fire Energy. Man.
I was going to see the instant charge to draw 3.
Draw 3, end your turn. This is it for Fabien. You need, I mean...
Raging Greninja. Can discard it off the refinement, though. 2 cards off the top, Fabien. Counter Catcher. Can't use that. And
nope.
Buddy Poffin.
Which
oh, no, is that Power Pad? Sorry, I can't. Oh,
no, it's Buddy Poffin. It doesn't really do very much. So it looks... Was that just a gesture back towards Tord?
It was.
Because Rotom is helping out. Tord is going to draw out of this sooner or later with that Rotom drawing an extra 3 cards per turn. He just needs any gusting whatsoever. He's only got 1 prize remaining to take, but that Mimikyu is not going to let him take it as it stands. He's got a bunch of cards in hand, but there is no gusting.
I guess there's a world in which, if you was to grab back that Thornton as well, you could Thornton away Rotom V. Oh, no, wait, the Charizard's not in discard pile anymore, is it? Oh, no, it's not. The Radiant
Charizard.
Oh, there it is.
Charizard.
Oh, and yep, there we go. That's going to wrap it up. We will see the retreat into the Radiant Charizard attack Combustion Blast as Tord Reklev takes our Swiss round 4 feature match. Game 1.
The only game 1. Only one game,
Only game 1. There's so much excitement going on.
We're tired like we've done 3 games, but we ain't done 3 games. We've done 1. And of course, important to note that Mimikyu, it blocks attacks of EXs and Vs, not rule box Pokemon. And of course, although Radiant Charizard is a rule box Pokemon, it is not an EX, it is not a V, it is not blocked. So Tord eventually, like I say, drawing those cards of Rotom, he was going to draw out of it, and that was a problem. Fabien did not have the draw that Gardevoir often has, and that Rotom being able to draw is really what just pushed Tord over there.
Yep, and there you can see those early KOs on the Curliers. Might have seemed less impactful at the start of the game, but at the end you saw just how it could grind Fabien down to a halt. And those Ionos, traditionally for a Gardevoir deck, you play the Iono, you can draw 4, 6 off refinement afterwards. When it is just an Iono to 2 or 3, can be devastating for you in the late game.
Yeah, and Tord was very, very clearly going after those Curlier in the early game. No surprises there. Absolutely making a beeline to hunt down those Curliers and go, I want your draw engine. I want to get rid of it. I don't want you to have a draw engine. And it took a while, but eventually we got down to the end of the game and it paid off absolutely beautifully. Now, we've only got 23 minutes left here. That was a decently long game 1. We've got time for a game 2. I don't think we've got time for a game 3, Shay. Not unless this next game is quick.
No, and not unless some shenanigans happen, but we did see 3 Fire Ranger get priced out of 4 in the last game, so I'm open to anything happening right now. As we do see, Fabien did have a mulligan, so we'll have to shuffle his hand away. Tord will get to start the game with an extra card to start the game from the top of his deck as well. We're going to kick it over to Fabien now. Let's see if we can get this game started. I do see a basic Pokemon. Probably not the one he wants.
But I mean, he's got a basic. You can start the game. It looks like we are all ready to set up. Prizes are coming down.
Right.
Cannot be as bad as last game for Tord. Oh, okay. 1 Charizard. Not the end of the world. Clever. We saw how much he liked that. That's a one-off. That's gone. The single fish is unfortunately in the prizes as well. Oh, but Tord starts his own Mimikyu this game. Anything you can Mimikyu, I can Mimikyu better.
Oh, now that right there was a good one. As Fabien's going to start the turn off there with a Buddy Poffin. Grab 2 basic Pokemon with 90 HP, or no, it's not, 60, 70 HP, I should say, 70, and put them straight onto your bench. A little bit like Battle of our P-Pass, but just for the little fellas.
And you can use it any turn of the game, which it's generally an early game thing, but you know, that mid-game refresh, sometimes getting those basics out can be a nice thing. Of course, you've got the Jirachi out. It's going to be taking a bench space. It's not really doing very much against Tord's deck. No. So you don't love that that's, you know, they're taking up that bench space. And Tord's not going to KO it. Tord loves that that's essentially a collapsed stadium for Fabien for the rest of the game now. But Buddy Poffin 2 routes. Anything else?
No. That is it. As we are going to kick it over to Tord now. Going to start the game 2 off for himself. Hisuian Heavy Ball. Does have a couple targets there, I think, right? Did have the Luminion.
Luminion and
yes. And the Fluttermane.
Fluttermane as well. I thought it was in there. So yeah, there's a bunch of targets there for whatever you want. Sees that a Charizard is prize, but 1 Charizard out of 2 is fine. Tord's deck with the Pidgeot, with the Forest Seal Stone, Tord can cherry, and that's why Tord is able to play such an awkward list here. So many one-offs and low counts, because you can cherry pick out of the deck so often that it does, and it's obviously gone for the Fluttermane there, as you can see. Oh, Luminion. There is no Fluttermane.
I think Fluttermane was in Fabien's forest.
There we go. Yeah, so it has gone for Luminion there. Great option in the early game. Goes and gets gets you a supporter card.
Just a great option. All parts of the game, being able to just bench it, Luminion, sign and grab any supporter you like. Fantastic. As we are going to see Tor play the Buddy Buddy Puffin, going to grab a Pidgey and a Charmander, pop them straight on the bench.
And here comes the fish straight away. And we see Arven is often a very good turn one choice here. Gets your Forest Seal Stone and an item card. And that does seem to be what Tord is going for immediately. No mucking about, rare candy, and of course, Forest Seal Stone. That's not a surprise. It is one of the main reasons Arven is so good right now, that it can get that Forest Seal Stone.
Yeah. Arven, fantastic supporter, only gets better as ace specs get printed as well. We see that Mist Energy get attached to the active Mimikyu, Forest Seal Stone get attached to the bench Luminion. And looks like it was a pass over to Fabien.
And that's the other cool thing. Like, Luminion doesn't just get you your supporter card, it also gives you a Pokemon that can use Forest Seal Stone. You've got to attach it to a Pokemon V. So Luminion kind of gets it and then uses it. It's really quite lovely.
As we do see that Curly come down Fabien, going to discard a Psychic Energy, draw two Psychic Energies. They're going to play Ultra Ball as they immediately get discarded.
That's
to
nice.
Grab another Curlier. Oh, there we go.
Double Curlier all the way across the sky. Free Psychic Energy into the discard pile. That's where you want to be.
Yes.
The ideal situation here is that you just keep discarding Psychic Energy. So when your Gardevoir comes out, you can attach it to all of your Pokemon anywhere you like and just start using that variety of attackers. And we saw how close Fabien came back in game one. That game really could have gone either way.
What a clutch draw off that well-trained Curlier. They're due into an Iono, so that's going to continue to turn for Fabien as both players put their hand to the bottom of their deck and draw 6, because they both have 6 prize cards remaining. That was a well-timed Iono there for Fabien.
Yeah, don't really know what Tord's hand was like, unfortunately. He's got a new hand now, but another Buddy Buddy Puffin. That's beautiful, because that's going to get you another 2 routes if you want another 2 routes, which it seems like Fabien absolutely does. And honestly, from here, you'd love to get your Radiant Greninja, and then you've got the complete opposite of game one. You're going to have draw for days at that point.
As we do see the charge energy attack from Jirachi, then you grab 2 basic energy cards from your deck and put them in your hand. Not an attack I've seen used too often, but makes a lot of sense when you got some Curlier and then you can just discard those energy next time. Yeah,
you got cards you want to discard with Curlier, and you get Psychic Energy in the discard. It's a very niche attack you don't want to be using very much, but here, in the absence of anything better, it actually works quite nicely. So we go back over to Tord, and the question is, as it often is for these Stage 2 decks, can you get a turn 2 Stage 2? Well, we've got the V-Star power coming out from that Forest Seal Stone, that V-Star Alchemy. It looks like he's probably going to be able to work towards it and straight away iron up that Pidgeot.
Pidgeot, fantastic card, isn't it, really? Free retreat cost, grab any card you like. Can attack as well. We saw it attack in the last game. Goodness gracious me, Pidgeot. As we do see the rare candy Pidgeot come down, so a quick search is now available. Can grab any card you like from your deck. And just think about this for a second. Tord Reklev has just searched 2 cards from his deck. Has he even played support? Yeah, Ross. That's just, what's going on?
Yeah, and the thing is, Pidgeot leads you into Charizard. You oftentimes, not always, there's exceptions, but a lot of the time you go and get the Pidgeot first, because that will get you one of the 2 bits to get your Charizard. So if you've got a Candy or a Charizard in hand, or an Ultra Ball or anything like that, you can guarantee the Charizard as well. And we actually see Luxray coming down again with a Bravery Charm for a bit more beef. We see a Pidgey hitting the bench, and then an Iono comes down again, giving both players a new hand of 6.
Yeah, very good. Don't mind it. And let's see what this 6 does for Tord here. I can still continue the turn, of course. See a Devolution, a Rare Candy, Counter Catcher. So not too bad.
We've got Rare Candy. I don't think Quick Search has been used yet, has it?
No, definitely
So
not.
Rare Candy means if you want a Charizard, you can absolutely get that Charizard here. Yep. Here comes a Quick Search. You can just search out Charizard, get the Rare Candy, and you are off.
Wow.
Or we can get anything else.
Could get whatever he likes, Ross. Whatever he likes in the world is towards Oyster, or Shelder, I should say.
Yeah, whatever you want,
now.
as long as it's a Charizard.
As long as it's a Charizard. Which then grabs the energy as well. I just think about how efficient this deck really is when it gets rolling. So we are going to see, I would imagine, that Rare Candy Charizard.
Oh, 100%.
Infernal Rain activation. This time can actually grab 3 energy from the deck. A little bit suspect in game 1. This time we'll be able to grab as many as you like. So I'd imagine, we're going to see 2 on the Luxray. Now that's actually interesting. That means Fang Snipe now will actually be swinging for the 30 instead of 10. Could be relevant.
It's a lot better than it was in game 1. One of the problems with Fang Snipe back in game 1 was that you only did 10 damage. So yes, you got the disruption, but the damage was largely irrelevant.
Yes.
Whereas here, you can actually do 30, which, I mean, you're still a way away. You're still free hit KOing a Jirachi. Let's not pretend it's lots of damage, but it's enough to just get a bit of damage around the board and try and slow down your opponent. Problem is, Fabien has 2 Curlier and 2 routes on the field. But the other thing, don't sleep on the fact this gives a lot of information to Tord.
Yes.
This tells him what Fabien's got in hand, and a player as good as Tord is going to go, okay, here's your likely line next turn. Yeah, we got the draw from Refinement, which is going to mess it up a little bit, but it gives a lot of information.
As we do see Tord, as you say, consulting the discard pile as well, trying to really meticulously work out what resources Fabien has available to just try and steer Fabien down a different game plan that he would otherwise like. So we do see that Iono being targeted off that Fang Sniper, I should say, as Fabien now plays a Hisuian heavy ball. So now that Flutter Main could come into play.
There we go. That's where the Flutter Main was prized.
It's fluttering away. Well, we got you now. Come on, get in the hand, you little rascal.
Didn't do a huge amount last game, but it is there as an option. Turns off abilities of active Pokemon, which is always fun.
Yep. Could be really good into those Lost Box decks that are the second most popular here. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's where you really get your money. When you're turning off Comface Flower Selecting, it's kind of hilarious and kind of mean, but in a hilarious way.
And as you did allude to, not really the most useful in this matchup, so get swiftly sent to the discard pile via Refinement. And we see the second Refinement being used as well. That hand, I mean, we do have an Arvin. We do have the TM Evolution, which could also be used as well, but not the greatest. I mean, Arvin could, you know, find
what you really want here, you want to be getting a couple of Curlier onto those routes, and then you want to be involving at least one of those routes into a Gardevoir EX, so that you can start accelerating energy and get some real attackers down. And that Luxray is kind of awkward.
Yes.
210 HP is a very awkward amount of HP because you're not really overextending with something like a Drifloon to KO a Charizard, and of course it's not really 210, it's 260 with a Bravery Charm, but you're kind of out of range of something like a Gardevoir EX.
Yes.
So it's actually really annoying.
It really is, and you kind of want to deal with it because it's going to just keep plucking stuff out your hand. You don't really want to be, you know, letting it carry on like that, especially since we saw, you know, Penny, it was played at EUIC for Toro. It's not a crazy thing to think you could be playing Pennies or Toro scenario, so you do kind of want to dispatch it in one go, otherwise it just sort of absorbs the hits, and then, you know,
there's 2 Penny and 1 Turo in the deck.
Yeah, exactly, so you kind of want to deal with it in one go.
You really do, and of course Drifloon can overextend. Generally speaking, during the game, you've got your Hero's Cape. Drifloon can overextend to take 1 big KO, right?
Yeah.
You don't want it to be the Luxray. You want it to be the Charizard. And actually, we're down to 4 Refinement Curlier. Fabien did what he needed to do there. Got both of those out nice and easily with the help of our old pal Arvin. So we got at least 4 more cards being drawn here. If we want.
Could say Fabien's board is looking very refined right now, very efficient. Come on.
But he's had enough. He's passing over to Tord here. He's got a board of Refinement Curlier. And this basically says to Tord, don't bother hunting the Curlier. It's not working. Yeah, you're not getting rid of his draw engine at this point. It's too well established. So now you can just go after, well, basically whatever you like. You can go after the active. You can go after something else. You can still get rid of the Curlier to weaken the draw engine. Yeah. But you're not going to shut it off like you did in game 1.
No, you can't just immediately remove all of them, as you say. So is over to Tord now going to be using that quick search, just debating. Oh, looks like that was an Eri taken again, Ross. So maybe, you know, Tord saying, well, if I can't remove all your Refinement, how about I just remove the cards from your hand instead? Make it potentially a lot more costly to use the Refinement. You know, if you remove good cards from the hand via Eri, then all of a sudden Refinement has to get rid of stuff that you otherwise would want to keep.
And worth noting, we changed the rules recently so that tool cards are no longer item cards.
True.
Very important with Eri. It means you cannot get rid of something like Hero's Cape, for instance. So it does make it. And there's actually an Eri in Fabien's hand as well. It's an Eri party, apparently.
The Eri party. Everyone's invited to party items.
There's a lot of shared cards between these 2 decks.
Really
Even
is.
though they're completely different archetypes. They're both playing, you know, they're both playing your Eri. They're both playing Hero's Cape.
We just said that everyone's invited to every party. Just got Fang sniped away, so Fabien will not be able to do that, as we do see Fabien start to turn off there with the Earthen Vessel, discarding Manaphy to grab 2 Psychic Energy. But you are correct, there is a lot of disruption cards in both players' decks, which traditionally is not something you see from the Stage 2 decks, but if the metagame allows it, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and worth taking a quick look at the clock here. We are 10 minutes in, 10 minutes left, sorry. No prizes going in this game so far, so this is very much advantage Tord at this stage. Fabien really playing to try and get a tie here, trying to make sure they can win game 2 in order to force a 1-1 tie. But if the game doesn't finish, Tord is going to be the winner of the match. So for as long as this game goes on like it is, Tord is happy, frankly.
Well, we do see the luxurious cape get drawn into. That is a very nice HP buff needed for that Drifloon. If the Drifloon wants to go to work, as we do see it getting attached, going to boost the non-rule box Pokemon. It's attached to HP by 100, but it does give up an extra prize card if it gets KO'd.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of like Hero's Cape, but you have to give up an extra prize card. Not ideal,
yes.
But what else have you got right now in Gardevoir that's going to take out that 260 HP Luxray? The answer is not a huge amount.
As we do see that Power Pad being played from the boss's orders, and I believe it was an Iono as well. TM Evolution getting attached to the Gardevoir EX and an Iono being played as well.
Going to put both players to 6 cards in hand still. No one's taking a prize. Actually, Fabien's deck is starting to get a little bit, not horrendously low, but he's gone for a lot of cards. And with 3 Curlier still on the field, Fabien's going to have access to almost anything he wants at this stage.
Yeah.
So this game is going very differently for Fabien than game 1.
We are going to see a pay retreat now into the Drifloon. We're going to see Gardevoir activating that Psychic Embrace. That's any amount of Psychic Energy you like from your discard pile to Psychic Pokemon. Nice. 2 damage counters get attached for each one. So there we go, each energy accounting for 60 damage. And there we are going to see that Balloon Burst for a big KO again. That's Fabien takes his first prize cards here in our round 4 feature match game 2.
Absolutely. Yeah, 6 energy, 12 damage counters. That is enough there to get all of the KO, but it's going to give up an extra prize back. And right now, maybe Tord doesn't. But I mean, you've got to think Tord's probably got... No, he does, because he can always just Pidgeot for a double turbo and guarantee the KO with nothing else. Or Pidgeot for a fire energy retreat into Charizard. So there's multiple routes that guarantee the KO is 100% on the board right now.
Could Pidgeot for the lost vacuum.
Well, that's literally why I just said ooh. Because you don't get the extra prize.
No.
But you do get a prize before you attack, a cheeky mid-turn prize. So you get an extra card from your prizes, and then you still get 2 prizes this turn, but you're taking out 2 Pokemon rather than 1. So it's not necessarily the only play to go for, but it is an option. Go and get that Lost Vacuum to get the cheeky mid-turn KO on the Drifblim.
We do see that Lost Vacuum getting moved to the front. I believe Tord did have access to the Arven in hand, so could still pluck it. Was there a counter catcher in hand as well?
When it got a fire energy for the Charizard, that's what we got off the Pidgeot, off the quick search. So Charizard tagging, here comes the Arven, so that item card could be Lost Vacuum and Hero's Cape. It is. I really like this play. I'm not 100% sure. There's a couple different ways to go. This is the way I would go, though. I love mid-turn KO share. They make me very happy.
Yeah, it's always fun when you can do it, and Tord's done it twice. That Lost Vacuum would remove that luxurious cape. Reducing that HP down for that Drifloon, meaning it would get KO'd. And it looks like what we're going to see now is Lost Vacuum will be getting rid of an Ultra Ball, whoa, maybe not, for Tord, and then we'll remove that luxurious cape. And then Fabien has the chance to promote anything he likes, as it does get KO'd, so straight to the discard pile, please. And let's see, going to promote the Gardevoir EX.
Makes sense. Gardevoir EX should still be able to take a... Oh, no, because Fabien's taken 2 prizes. So Charizard's hitting...
Well, for ×2, it's Dark type, right?
Yeah. So easily enough. It's hitting 240 normally, but then, of course, Gardevoir, like you say, does have that weakness to darkness, and it's not a Fire Charizard, it's a Terra Charizard. So Charizard easily gets a KO on Gardevoir here and takes 3 prizes in 1 turn. Tord has taken a prize. Just to be clear, there has been a prize taken by Tord there, so he's down to 5, and hopefully he's going to, well, I mean, it seems like this KO on the Gardevoir should be pretty straightforward.
Seems like it. I mean, maybe Fabien's going to try and stick an Iono to try and, limit Tord's options. So let's see what Tord opts to do now. Does have the Fire Energy in hand yet? Well, we saw it off the quick search. I can retreat and attack. And we're going to see the Hero's Cape on the pit. I like that play a lot. It's going to make any Scream Tail a lot harder. And yeah, it's going to see that Burning Darkness KO the Gardevoir EX, and now Tord takes 2 more prize cards, meaning he's taken 3 in total over to Fabien.
He's jumped ahead in the game, and here's the thing, like, it's a very different game for Fabien because he's had his draw engine, but he hasn't had all of those cheeky little attacks he had back in game 1, like the early Scream Tail on the lone Charmander, you know, things like that were making Fabien's game work even without the draw engine.
Yes.
And yet in this game, he's not, the attackers don't seem to be streaming quite as easily. You've lost your Gardevoir EX now, and the problem is if you get another Gardevoir EX, it's Charizard fodder, but if you don't get another Gardevoir EX, then you don't have enough energy to really attack with very much. So, is it time for Drifloon Hero's Cape? That's where I'm going with that.
I think it is. This is the turn. That Drifloon taking a big balloon blast KO, getting super up back in. Now he's going to feel all heroic, get that cape on, and that take a big swing KO. Because now we know that Lost Vacuum has been used. Fabien can probably safely assume that there won't be another one. So yeah, I think that seems pretty. Ooh, we do see the counter catcher. Oh man, that must have been to Pidgeot then.
Yeah, I really like this.
Yep.
There's a reason Tord put the Hero's Cape on the Pidgeot. It's because he really doesn't want it to go down because it is got that quick search engine. This turn, or even on Ino, if you can get it going here.
There we go.
I mean, it's almost like you can hear me at this point. Because now you're putting Tord down to a free card hand, but there's no draw on the board. You take away the quick search to be able to search out any card you want. And now all of a sudden, Tord's actually got his free card hand. And here's the thing, right?
Yep.
We saw, there was a counter catcher, right?
Yes, it was a counter
Because
catcher.
there's one boss in the list for Fabien. Only one, but there is one in the list. And Gardevoir EX will just get a KO on Luminion. So there is a fairly easy prize map here where if you KO the Pidgeot, you can, if you can get your boss's orders, just use Gardevoir EX to KO Luminion, and then boom, that's it. Game's over. We go to game 3, and it probably ends in a tie, but Fabien doesn't lose the match.
Yep, as we are going to see Psychic Embrace use ×2 to get that Curly out of the active, as it does pay retreat. You see that Balloon Blast being eyed up now, each energy counting for 60 damage effectively, so more than enough there in the discard pile as Fabien's going to use that Psychic Embrace on that very heroic looking Drifloon, if I do say so myself, and Balloon Blast for a big KO.
Yeah, doing a rather ridiculous amount of damage here. I believe that's 450 damage? Is that 30 times damage counter?
Yep.
15 damage counter, that's 450 damage.
There we go.
That's quite a lot, frankly.
That is a lot on a little basic one prize Pokemon, isn't it, to be fair?
And now Fabien is just a boss's orders away from guaranteeing the win next turn. Tord cannot. I don't believe Tord can take free prizes here because the Lost Vacuum
has
already been used. I'm just double checking it is a singlet. It is a singlet in the deck because that would be one option, Lost Vacuum, and then KO a Gardevoir EX, but that's not on the board right now. So I don't think Tord can take free prizes this turn. No. But what he is going to try and do is take a KO with a single prizer, which of course is definitely going to be Radiant Charizard.
Yeah. There we go.
Get Radiant Charizard out. Take the KO with that, and then basically force Fabien to have Gust to win the game.
Yes,
and then if Fabien doesn't, then you come back in and Tord has got KO the Gardevoir for game. So we might be back into that whoever gets boss's orders first scenario.
Yeah, I mean, the Scream Tail there is a world where the Scream Tail can reach the KO on the Luminion if you see a HP boosting item. I believe we do see the Bravery charm there. Oh, just had the boss anyway, because can see the whole deck via refinement, and then we're going to see the Miracle Force from the Gardevoir EX. Fabien Pujol wins our round 4 game 2 feature match here. Wow.
That was good. That's what we said. If he had the boss, he had the game. Brings up the fish, uses Gardevoir, and that's the thing about Luminion, right? Very useful fish, because we got the supporter card in the early game.
Yes.
And used it as a way to actually activate that Forest Seal Stone.
Yep.
But it's got 170 HP. And one of the things about Gardevoir is Gardevoir EX is a sneaky, really bad attacker.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like Gardevoir EX as an attacker.
No.
Because it just misses out most 2 prize KOs.
Yep.
but it's a 2-prize Pokemon that is your energy acceleration.
Yep.
So you really don't want to use it to take a single prize KO, while it's bad at taking 2 prize KOs. But Luminion is one of the rare examples of a Pokemon where Gardevoir becomes a very good attacker into it.
Yeah, and I think if Gardevoir was an even better attacker, then the Gardevoir deck would be a lot more stronger. So I think they had to kind of limit that damage out. But you're right, if that Gardevoir...
You're right, absolutely.
Yeah, because you're right, if that Gardevoir can ever pick up a 2-prize KO, it's very good for you, I would like to say. So yeah, it looks like both players are now shuffling up for game 3, but it looks like they're just going to say, you know what, let's just agree this will be a tie, and that will end up our round 4.
Yeah, we're 10 seconds away from time. By the time it sets up, we are already going to be in extra turns, and essentially both players are just going, I don't have a single basic Pokemon for you to knock out in 2 turns. I also don't have a single basic Pokemon. Let's go to a tie. And I mean, that was a good game. We saw 2 good games, 2 long games, back and forth games, and really fun games, lots of interactions. But we didn't get our answer, Shay.
What was it? What was the question?
The superior stage 2 deck.
Oh,
the older Gardevoir or the less old Charizard.
Well, I guess there's only one way we have to answer that question then, Ross. That's why I keep watching the stream and see what ends up doing better. You know what? I quite like that conclusion, if you ask me. Whatever your favorite stage 2 deck is, let us know down there on the socials using the hashtag #PlayPokemon. Every chance that your tweet gets features, and make sure you follow the YouTube and the Twitch to make sure you don't miss any Stockholm regional action. But if you want to get involved with all the Twitch polls and that handy-dandy Twitch extension, you're going to have to be on Twitch then for that, really.
Yeah, pretty gosh darn important. And yeah, we got a lot of rounds left, so we will probably get our answer, don't get me wrong. And you know what, as casters sitting here, I mean, I'll take that all day. 2 fun back and forth games, both of which could have gone either way. Both of them, you know, in both games. In game 1, Fabien was in a position to win, but couldn't quite pull it out. In game 2, Tord could very easily have won the following turn, but Fabien just pipped him with the boss's orders, and those are the games I like to see. I want to see good back and forth games. And game 2, both of those decks really set up. Game 1 was awkward. Tord didn't really have access to Charizard, and Fabien couldn't keep Curlier on the board. And then game 2, we saw both decks really set up and do their thing, and it was fun watching players that good with decks that are that good, really going back and forth. We didn't get an answer, but we did get 2 very good games.
We really did. Let's not forget